This is Kris Gemmell. Say hi, Kris.
Hi, Kris. Hi, Simon.
Hi, there you go. All right, Kris. Welcome to our television channel in Canada called CNTC Television. We're the least funded and poorest broadcasting television channel in Canada or on the internet.
I just hope that there's one more person other than me that watches it.
Are you all the views?
Otherwise, I'm going to be watching myself.
Are you all the views, do you think?
I think it's great.
Yeah, okay, good. There you go. Okay, so state your name and where you're from for the camera.
My name is Kris Gemmell and I'm from New Zealand.
All right. We'll start off with, when did you start in triathlon?
I started triathlon in 1996.
And what kind of sport did you do before that?
I played a bit of rugby and a bit of rugby league.
All right, were you pretty good?
Oh, I wasn't too bad, but I definitely didn't grow as much as the other boys in my school.
Were you a prop forward?
No, I was first five.
You weren't a hooker?
No,
No?
definitely not a hooker.
No?
I would have loved to have been a hooker.
Yeah, there you go. So first triathlon, where was it?
The first triathlon was actually in Rotorua in a race called the Blue Lake Triathlon.
Oh, and swimming, you're all right?
Yeah, no, it wasn't too bad, but I got passed by this really ugly looking fellow with a beat nose who managed to elbow me in the ribs as he went past me on the round.
Hamish Carter was there?
No, actually it was Bevan Doherty. But they do both have twists.
I see. Wow. So who won then?
Actually, John Newsom. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, I know
him.
him, yeah.
Stellar thing, and I think Will Smith was second, and then Bevan was third, so I was fourth. So.
And that's your first triathlon ever?
Yeah, so that was pretty...
You're an athletic
amazing.
bugger, right?
Well, yeah, and also the standard in New Zealand was pretty poor.
Oh, I see. Cam Brown wasn't there?
No, Cam was still running over doing his years in Japan at that time, I think.
Oh.
That's where he was making all his money in those years.
He was a legend of when I was in '95. They were like, "Oh, have you seen Cam Brown around?"
Oh, I think he owned anything that ended in "Tonga," he owned.
How's that go again?
Tonga.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, we're in Japan, so that was appropriate. Okay, so you're a coach now. Did you get coached right away, or did you?
Yeah, no, I was sort of involved in the old talent identification program after that point, and got picked up by John Hellemans, who was my coach then and has been since then, and so obviously had a pretty decent relationship that he hasn't got rid of me all this time, and we've pretty much grown together. There's a few people come on board, as they always do, when a relationship gets a bit stale and you need to try and keep it fresh. So no, that's been really good, and he understands me a lot, and we understand each other pretty well.
Does he do all the coaching, like the swim, bike, run, or do you have a specific?
Yeah, he mainly does the full out program of the whole thing, and then I have another running coach, Pete Fitzinger, who went to the Olympics twice in marathon and as an American, and and he sort of came over to New Zealand. He also coaches Debbie Tanner, so he has a lot of input into my running side of things, and then I have a local swim coach, Andrew Nichols, that does all my swimming when I'm at home in Palmerston North in New Zealand.
Palmerston North, South Island?
No, it's in the north.
Oh, jeez.
You have a 50-50 chance of getting it.
Yeah, I was just throwing darts at the board there.
On the east to the west coast.
Yeah. I just
nothing in the middle.
threw darts. I was like, oh, here we go.
There's nothing in the middle of Canada, right?
Hey, my wife's from the prairies. Careful. So, John, what kind of stuff? You're a big mileage runner, small mileage. You don't.
Yeah, it's sort of grown into the whole thing. Trying to find a few things out, what works for me and so forth of things, but seems like high mileage doesn't really do anything for me. I don't seem to get a lot out of it, but a lot of more strength, endurance, steady state running compared to running high intensity stuff. All I seem to do is get tired from it and don't respond very well to it. So, which means also that I don't have to race as much. So it's pretty broad in that sense. I probably do a lot more biking than most people, and that seems to flow on to the strength of my running, which means I don't have to do as much running. So I don't know, that just seems to be the way it works for me. I'd like to say I could run 160k a week and run as fast as I could doing that, but I just can't. I just either get sick, overtrained, or generally my swimming drops off because obviously I get a little bit lighter and I can't get through the water fast enough to keep up with the front boys.
How many days a week are you running then?
We do 6 times a week, and I have Friday off.
What's a typical running week look like?
Run on a Monday, run on a Tuesday, long run on a Wednesday, normally a bike run on a Thursday, then a day off on Friday, long run on a Saturday, and then just an easy recovery on a Sunday.
Oh, there you go. So not a lot of intervals, more.
Nah.
Yeah.
No, I just can't. I just don't seem to be able to cope with it. I mean, I can do them, but I just get too tired from them, especially like the times that I've been out to altitude. I've really struggled doing the hard sessions up there and then trying to come down. Always felt great, run really great and breathing brilliantly and whatever, but
it just doesn't translate the same.
Yeah, always just seems to smash me. So seems like that's what works for me, and yeah, as you well know, what works for someone doesn't work for other people. So
The swimming, you're a high mileage guy, or
yeah,
low?
no, I have to swim a lot.
Yeah.
It's a simple. That's one thing I found out. I mean, I need to be swimming over just about over 6K every time I get in the ball. So I've been doing some mega swimming sessions. We've been doing nice Saturday morning sessions where we will go between 8 and 10K and be in the water nearly 2.5 hours.
I have to hope my coach doesn't see that.
Yeah, so it's been interesting, but I've definitely got the gains out of it. I'm swimming faster than I.
That seems to be the trend, doesn't
before,
it?
so.
For us, we didn't come from a swimming background as much. You have to it's a lot of volume.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that we've got people that have evolved the sport a little bit to the right, mate, and we've had to sort of change ourselves to go with them, and it's kind of a pleasant. I think it's cool, like you learn something different about yourself, and you realise that maybe if you'd done this, 3 or 4 years ago, you could have already had that potential then. So you're sort of always living by the way that people evolve it.
The swimming certainly has picked up in the last couple of years, hasn't it? If you're not there with Javier and Andy Potts, then they're fine to run away from you.
Yeah, I mean, the guys that I saw Javier on the TV swimming the Spanish short distance championships and being in the final for the 1500 and swimming 15:43.
I only went 15:45, so he's got me tipped there.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then of course, Andy, he's got his finger in his nose half the time, halfway doing the swim, doing it easy. So it's those guys have they've changed it a little bit for us, and those guys run well as well. So you can't sort of in the old days you let the swimmers go off the front and know you can chase them down. So it sort of changed.
They did. They changed the rules, didn't they? So cycling, what's the typical the volume and intensity or frequency?
It's mainly I do a lot of like bike racing and stuff like that, especially over summer. Do a lot of tours and whatnot. It's something that I enjoy, and I really enjoy the whole just watching how it works within the cycling thing, the whole etiquette around it, and the way that they deal with people and people outside of their fraternity.
Yeah.
How they either A, accept them, or B, just won't even let them ride on the road with you. And that's really interesting for me, and I learned a lot of tricks from those guys, and it's a very interesting time, all that bike races that I do.
I bet. What do you think of the ITU presently, with where the sport's going, where the races are located, the prize money situation? I guess I've asked you a broad question, but you can answer however you like.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, being an athlete rep, it's something that I'm concerned about in the sense of like listening to what the athletes have got to think. I think that the sport in general is in a state where we've got a really big platform to launch off. We seem to always have either one of the best races at the Olympic Games or the best race at the Olympic Games, and I think that as and to get into the mainstream side of media and sports side of things, we have such a platform to launch over always after an Olympic Games, and I hope that, and would imagine that the Olympics will be no different this time. I'm sure there'll be 2 great races and 2 great champions, and I'm sure the races will be exciting for all the how many billion people that end up watching it, and this will be give us a real platform to launch off, and hopefully we can put this series in the World Cup circuit into a stratosphere that it's never been in before.
Where do you see yourself? Are you going to be still racing in the World Cup in 5 years?
Yeah, I'd like to think that I always wanted to. I mean, obviously I wanted to go to Athens, and that didn't pan out the way I wanted to. So it's been 3.5 years of hard work to get back to the point where I've given myself a chance of going to Beijing, and I'm really looking forward to racing there. But of course, I'm thinking ahead as well to the point where I'd like to think that I could still be around in London, and love to be able to race in London as well. So I'm not making anything firm, but I would like to think that I will still have something left me in by then.
Yeah. You'd like to go on to London and then kind of see where it goes from there.
Yeah, well, that old bugger Carter was 34 years old in Athens, mate, and I'd only be just half a year older than him in London, so I guess I'm.
These 30-year-olds, they're old.
Tell you what, I know, it's unbelievable.
And where do you see with the World Cup? They're talking about a prestige series, maybe bigger World Cups.
Yeah, I guess the example that probably is easy for people out there to understand is the whole Masters series scenario of tennis. Like they have so many events all around the world where they can get ATP Tour rankings or whatever. Well, maybe it's we need to look at having a certain amount of events that are just beyond caliber of a World Cup almost, and then still have the World Championships as like the end of series events or the Grand Slam kind of scenario. And I think if we can get into that, we've got the likes of Des Moines that's coming along with the big prize money, and then obviously the World Championship every year being, a great spectacle. Not many sports have, World Championships every year, so enabling that to keep going, I think that's really important, and just making sure that there's another few key World Cups up there that we get everyone along to, and they become bigger and better and more of a focus for the athletes.
Done. All right, this has been Kris Gemmell, and thank you.